All right, everybody. I am DJ Hipnotic. What's going on? It's still the 12 o'clock hours, 12:45 on the East Coast at WSJ The Voice. To everybody that's been tuning into the show or just tuned in, thank you for keeping it locked right here. All right, it's that special time, and like I promised you, I have a special guest on the line, two special guests on the line. I want to introduce from crashing the White House to the Real Housewives of DC. Now to my show, Am I on the Air with DJ Hipnotic. Let me present to everybody the Salahis. Hello?
Hello.
Hello, that's Tark Salahi. Welcome to the show.
Morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Hello, so nice to have both of you on the show today. So I have Mikhail and Tark Salahi live with me right now.
Great to be on the show.
Not a problem. So why don't you guys just reintroduce yourself again for everybody that's not familiar with you guys. You were on The Real Housewives of DC.
Well, with my beautiful hot wife, Mikhail Salahi, the hottest wife in all the Real Housewives.
I love him. See, that's what keeps the marriage together. Sweetheart Mikhail and Tark. My name is Mikhail Salahi from The Real Housewives of DC. We are happy to be here today. My husband Tark is with me. Tark Salahi owns Oasis Winery.
Great to be on the show.
Not a problem. All right, now, Mikhail, if I have this correct, you labeled yourself Miss DC.
Oh, no. The Washington Post gave me Commander-in-Chief. And in one of the episodes, I kind of joke about it, and I go, here I am, Miss DC. So I have fun with it. But that clip you see in the show, I'm actually playing with it because that's a lot of pressure. So I have a lot of fun. I think it's cool. You know, in D.C., I've been somebody who takes it a little step further with fashion. So I think I've gotten the title from the Washington Post Commander-in-Chief because I would try a little something different. And D.C.'s usually dark suits and very conservative, and sometimes I'll roll in a bright pink dress. So, you know, I take a step further. We're in New York or L.A. or wherever you are, it's you know, kind of normal to do whatever your style is.
I hear you. Now, why did you want to be a Real Housewife of DC? If like something like that, it's too much to keep up with.
Yeah. No, you know, it's a lot of fun. It's a great experience. You know, we've been married 7 years now, my husband and I, and I've very much been a part of his world, like Polo, he owns a winery. And when they came to me and said, you know, we have this show, I thought, what a great way to not only have an opportunity for me as a woman, but now I'm getting a part of such a huge franchise and, you know, highlighting the nation's capital. I mean, the city is all about just not diversity in America, but it's around the world, you know, that people come here and see the nation's capital. So it was a huge high, and it is. It's been an awesome experience.
I hear you. Now let's go back in time to when you guys allegedly crashed the White House. I'm gonna say allegedly because you guys could have been invited, but everybody's saying that you weren't. So why don't you just talk about that? I would have did the same thing if I had the opportunity. I would have went to the White House. So I don't blame you, but why don't you talk about that?
Well, you know, the story is really simple, and but we were communicating with a White House official well before the White House. And I was even communicating with Tim Kaine, who's chairman of the DNC. It was the governor of Virginia at the same time during that November month. And I was emailing him, telling him, look, we're going to be going to the White House and hoping you're going to be there, and we'll take pictures with you and Obama. Well, if you're going to be crashing the White House, you don't inform the number one person in charge of the DNC and tell them you're going to be going to the White House. And you also don't give the Secret Service your Social Security number, date of birth, full legal name, citizenship, which the White House official requested from us for clearance in the White House. So, you know, what part of crashing the White House does that sound like to you? It doesn't, does it?
It really doesn't. Hello?
Oh, yeah, we're listening. Yeah. Another part to it is, if you saw in the final episode, did you see that?
I did see that, yes.
Yeah, I even spell my name. So at any point, we're with the production crew, right, for the show. They have to, in D.C., anytime you film in that area in D.C., you have to get a permit. So in the permit, you have to state what you're coming to film, what you're doing. So no one really goes with the production crew who's applied for a permit, and all those permits are viewed when it's around the White House by Secret Service. So there's so much more to the story. I know a woman, it's not our book, but a woman, Diane Diamond, did a book, and we agreed to cooperate with her, but she got a lot of it right on her own. I mean, we either said, what we could, but, we had always wanted to talk with Congress, but they had prejudged us. So it's not that we didn't want to talk with them. It's just when someone's calling you, wicked, vicious names, and you haven't, it just was too much of a spectacle. We wanted to do it behind closed doors with them, and they kind of knew, their aides knew. I mean, it's all politics, and it's a year later. I think it became a sensational story for the media because it was a slow news week. It was a holiday, and they just spun with it.
It was election time for Congress, you got to remember. They all wanted to get on the TV camera.
Yeah.
They loved every minute of it, all those guys.
I actually questioned that. Why, if they wanted to question you sincerely, why would they set a whole bunch of TV cameras in front of you? Like, is that the reason why you guys pleaded the fifth? You didn't want them to take something and run with it?
No, the reason we had to take the fifth was because several of the congressmen and women issued press releases saying that we were bad people, we crashed the White House, so they had already prejudged us. So imagine if you were on trial, yourself as a DJ of the show for anything, let's say murder or child molestation, these crazy serious things like they were accusing us. And before you get to the trial, you got the jury saying, "Oh, you're guilty." That's a little scary. Kind of thing. So yeah, we couldn't address any of that kind of stuff to the members of Congress, but they prejudged us, and that was really a big mistake on their part. If they really had interest in hearing the story, they had the chance to hear it through an attorney proffer and hear the entire story, see all sorts of confidential emails, but they chose not to. They wanted to be on TV. It was election time. They want to get reelected.
I hear you. Now, Mikkel, are you friends with Michelle Jones?
Michelle Jones, I think, is a brilliant woman. She is not only stunning, but one of the most well-spoken women. I've met her. She's attended our events. We had a polo event that she came and spoke at on behalf of the, White House and building diversity and relationships, bilateral relationships between countries. So I have the utmost, respect for her, and I think she's a beautiful woman, inside and out.
All right, well, that's good to know. That's good to know right there.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk more about the Oasis Winery. How long has that been in the family? And what about your home? Who really owns the Salahi's home?
That's funny. It's in that episode.
I love all the stories.
Yeah. Which one first, the winery or the house?
Let's go with the house first.
Okay, the house, Stacey, I think, one of the other wives said, well, they don't even own a home. And when you do any kind of business, especially real estate, you want to go in. All you can do is pull up in any courthouse what people own. You go to the county, and it says what the names are, the deeds on the houses. So when she said it, I think, because she's I've never had any bad vibes. I've always given her love throughout the entire time I've known her. We've taken her to lunches and given her wine and been a good friend to her. So when she said, well, you don't even own a home, I'm like, gosh, all you have to do is not go off of the other women's hate for us, because there's 3 other wives on the show who just, are really rough. And Stacey, all she had to do is go to a courthouse, but you can go to the county and pull up. Anybody can do that throughout the country. So the honest, yes. Do we own a home? Yes. The second thing, the winery, I'll let Tark hit.
Okay. Thank you for that, though.
Yeah, that was a long-winded answer. All right, so the winery is going to be reopening up, we hope, in the next couple of months. We're actually getting plans underway. I lost my dad a couple of weeks ago, so the family's come back together. My mom has, stopped doing the things, her antics that she was doing to Mikkel and I, especially me. So the family's reconnected, and we're going to reopen the winery in honor of my dad.
Okay, that's good information. I'm sorry about your loss as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
No problem. All right, now, Mikkel, what was it between you and Linda? There was a lot of arguing, catfighting going on from what I saw, and we just talked about Stacey. My view of Stacey, you two together, it seemed like she was trying to suck information out of you more than be your friend.
Yeah, it was a bummer. I've always been her friend throughout the entire season. And like I said, in Paris, we had them over to our suite. We took them out to lunch, her and her husband. Yeah, we gave them wine. You see at their home. It's funny because when we went to their home, it was sad as we were watching it back. Viewers that were writing into me said, "Mikkel, you brought them 2 bottles of wine. They're drinking your wine in their house." As soon as they sent you, to leave after you said you didn't want to talk about the White House, when you're told by attorneys and the White House officials that, and the show, not to talk about, that you can't talk about the White House, and then you get there, and I nicely say to Stacey on and off camera, "I can't talk about that tonight. I'm not here for that." I must have said it 100 different ways. So that was like a bummer. That was really disappointing because, Naomi Campbell stood up for me recently, and I don't even know her, and I'm definitely sending her a thank you letter and an I love you gift. She stood up for me and said, "Stacey, what's the need to talk about Mikkel behind her back all the time, or tell Mikkel that people are talking behind her back?" And you can actually Google it. And I was like, wow, I don't even know Naomi Campbell, but she must have dealt with women throughout her career that she saw that same pattern in. So, Linda and I don't really catfight. Linda's just cruel. And I pretty much try and get her to have some humanity, and I asked Tark to apologize for throwing the wine because his nerves are shot with her bullying me. And then I basically say to Linda, "Hey, could you say you're sorry for all the really derogatory hate? It's not even like just, I don't like you, you're stupid, your hair, an ugly color, or whatever. It's like vicious, malicious hate within her. It's a little scary." So I said, "Could you apologize to me now? Tark threw the wine. He's saying he's sorry. Can you say you're sorry? No, you're lucky to breathe the same air." So, but yet she's out blessing, her yard at her home. That's when I say to her in the reunion, bless yourself. Don't bless your yard when you have that much hate within you. Or maybe, like she said, she likes, the wacky tobacco. Maybe she's got to light up, to get some ease within her heart. If she can't get it from blessing things, I know she jokes in the show a lot that she likes marijuana. Well, then do what you got to do to get some peace. So.
I hear you. Everybody's got to sleep at night.
Yeah. Totally. So maybe, there's just a lot of anger. I think maybe it's when she's without the wacky tobacco she has that anger. I don't know.
I hear you. People on my Twitter page are actually saying right now that Stacey is two-faced. And we're going to have some callers call in. People are excited to speak with you today.
Yeah, we definitely agree. I mean, it's a little, we were surprised because we really liked Stacey. And Jason, I think Jason's great. He's a really cool guy. But, Stacey's definitely two-faced. She says one thing and does another. And it's too bad. Mikkel says it hurts. I just, she was saying things on the show. I'm like, come on, Stacey, be honest about it. They cut a lot of that part out. But, she's in love with herself.
I hear you. Well, thank you for that information. That's good to know about Stacey. But it was pretty obvious in the way that they were acting towards you.
It was a bummer. It was totally for me because, especially, the other three they always become one person. I've made a joke throughout the entire season that when I referred Linda and Mary to the show, I referred them to the producers because I knew that they're the kind of women. I used to do their makeup at Nordstrom, and Mary reminds us every episode, well, I'm proud. I had a job. I did it really well. I was a makeup artist. I helped them get great looks. Linda, she was a makeup artist in the 80s before her modeling agency. Her husband got her. She was a makeup artist. So it's funny that they bash me, but then they won't come clean about their own careers, I think being a makeup artist to me is a proud career. I think any job to have today, you're lucky. So I don't care what you're doing. If you're earning an income, I'm all for it. So, but I think, those three women kind of conform to one person. They feed off each other. And I think Stacey might be getting sucked into the dark side. So...
Wow.
Yeah, because that's not who I know her as. Like, she keeps saying, well, I love Mikkel, without Tark, we have a good time. We did, but I think we were both very nice to her. And, I think, I don't know, I've never seen this kind of hate. I didn't even have that in elementary school, like people being that. We weren't, it wasn't allowed in our school. If you were mean, they shut you down. So...
I see. See, I'm letting you talk and explain the situation, unlike